Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping into a really huge question. How in the world do we piece together the story of a civilization from thousands of years ago?
Let's start with a puzzle. How do you write the history of ancient India, a time and place that existed way before books as we know them were a thing? I mean, where would you even start?
Well, the answer is, historians use this special kind of investigative toolkit. Think of it as a set of really powerful methods for pulling stories out of the silent clues left behind in the earth and carved into stone.
So, let's crack open this toolkit, shall we? We're going to see exactly how these instruments let us unlock the secrets of ancient India. Okay, first up, our most basic, most fundamental tool, the spade. And yes, this represents archaeology, the actual science of digging in the dirt to find the physical stuff, the tangible proof of how people really lived their lives.
Archaeologists dig into these things called mounds, which are basically these raised hills covering up old towns and cities. And what they find is just an absolute treasure trove of information. We're talking everything from grand palaces down to the tiny little seeds from the food people ate. You know, even a single broken piece of pottery has a whole story to tell.
And get this, there are two main ways they dig. A vertical dig is kind of like slicing into a giant layer cake. It lets you see all the different layers of history, one stacked on top of the other, giving you a timeline. Then there's the horizontal dig. Now this one is way more expensive, so it's pretty rare, but it uncovers an entire settlement from one specific moment. It's like hitting pause and getting this incredible, complete snapshot of life.
So you might be wondering, okay, they find a bone, but how do they know how old it is? Well, for anything that was once alive, they use this absolutely brilliant method called radiocarbon dating. See, every living thing, you, me, a tree, we all absorb this radioactive element called carbon-14 from the atmosphere. The moment something dies, it stops taking in C14, and the amount it already has starts to decay at a perfectly steady, known rate. So by measuring what's left, scientists can work backwards and calculate almost exactly when it died. It's like a natural atomic clock.
But finding artifacts is one thing. How do you figure out the skill involved or how they were actually made? For that, archaeologists have this really fascinating and clever technique called ethnoarchaeology.
Here's a perfect example of how it works. To understand how ancient Harappans made these incredibly intricate beads thousands of years ago, well, you can't time travel. So instead, researchers go to places like Kambat in Gujarat, where artisans today still make carnelian beads using traditional techniques. By watching them, we learn not just about the craft, but about the whole social world around it. It's an amazing window into the past.
So, if the spade helps us uncover the objects of the past, our next tool, the chisel, lets the past speak for itself. We're talking about epigraphy, the study of inscriptions. This is the tool that gives a direct voice to people from long ago.
Imagine this. For centuries, all across India, there were these rocks and pillars covered in strange, beautiful writing that nobody could read. A total mystery. Then, in 1837, this one guy, a civil servant named James Prinsep, finally cracked the code. He deciphered the ancient Brahmi script. And just like that, the edicts of the great Emperor Ashoka, silent for millennia, could suddenly speak to the world again.
And Prinsep's breakthrough wasn't just big, it was monumental. It unlocked a whole family tree of writing, revealing that Ashokan Brahmi was the ancestor of almost every single indigenous script in South and Southeast Asia, from Devanagari to Tamil. But there is still one big puzzle left. That much, much older Harappan script still remains undeciphered. A tantalizing mystery.
So what did these inscriptions actually say? Well, they weren't random graffiti. They were official documents carved in stone for everyone to see. Some, called a prashasti, were basically public eulogies bragging about a king's great victories. Others were more like legal records, noting a gift of land or money to a local temple. They give us this direct window into royal propaganda and public life.
All right, our final tool is small, but wow, is it mighty. It's the coin. I want you to think of it like a tiny, durable data packet, just crammed with information about the economy, art, religion, and politics of its time.
The evolution of coinage in India is just amazing. It started with simple punch-marked bits of silver, but the progression from there is incredible. The Indo-Greeks introduced coins with realistic portraits and the names of their kings, a total game changer. Then later, the Kushanas minted these beautiful gold coins showing all sorts of gods and goddesses. Money had become a form of mass media.
And here's the crucial point. Coins are so much more than just money. They can give us biographical details. Take this famous coin of the Gupta emperor Samudragupta. History knows him as this great military conqueror, right? But this coin shows him peacefully playing a stringed instrument called a veena. That's a calculated PR move, showing a whole different side of his personality to his subject.
Coins can also fuel some huge historical debates. For a long time, historians noticed that after the Gupta Empire, the artistic quality and variety of coins dropped off a cliff, so they assumed it meant the economy collapsed. But more recent research suggests that even if the coins got uglier, the actual volume of coins being used might not have decreased at all. And that challenges that whole theory of decline.
And we have to remember, money wasn't always metal. Just look at this number, 25,000. That's how many cowrie shells were found at one single archaeological site, right next to only 27 metal coins. It's a powerful reminder that for everyday small transactions, these little shells were often the real currency for ordinary people.
Okay, so we have our spade, our chisel, and our coins. But none of these tools tells the whole story on its own. The real magic, the real work of being a historian, happens when you start to assemble the puzzle. And that means understanding the strengths and weaknesses of every single piece. Think about it. Excavations tell us about the daily lives of anonymous people. But what survives is often just a matter of luck. Inscriptions give us the official, royal story, but they conveniently leave out any of the defeats. And coins are great for tracking trade, but they can travel far beyond a kingdom's borders, which can make them tricky to interpret.
This is exactly why correlation is the key. You have to layer all the different kinds of evidence, from digs, from inscriptions, from coins. By doing that, historians can cross-check their facts, fill in the crucial gaps, and build a much richer, more complete picture of the past than any one source could ever provide.
And that leads us to a final and I think really exciting thought. These tools have revealed so much, but history isn't some static collection of facts. It's an ongoing investigation. And the most thrilling part is knowing that the next archaeological dig or a newly deciphered script could completely rewrite the story, revealing histories that are still buried, just waiting to be told.